New Mexico lawmakers are meeting in the first week of the 2009 session of the legislature. They're looking at a huge shortfall in income. Lots of programs will be on the block for examination, possible cuts. Education will surely be a sticking point. How to fund it, whether or not to subject it to cuts. KSFR's Marguerite Kearns has been looking into those questions.
Funding public education is a serious problem. Making matters worse is the state constitution mandate to fund education, quote, sufficiently, unquote. Sufficiency is difficult to define. Some legislators from the Legislative Education Study Committee have listened to testimony by Dr. Richard Sims, Chief Economic Advisor to lawmakers in other states. Sims spoke to them about the chronic underfunding of education in New Mexico and what to do about it.
If your concern is economic growth, you have to focus on the quality of your workforce. You see that within New Mexico, you see that within every state in the country.
Dr. Sims says that businesses relocate because of the quality of public schools, colleges, and vocational tech programs. Good workers are even more important than tax incentives. This puts pressure on the state to improve public education and find better ways of paying the cost of $7,834 to educate a child in New Mexico each year.
For each new job that you have where someone comes into New Mexico to take a job, they on average bring one school-aged child with them. So one worker per one school-aged child.
A worker earning $75,000 pays an estimated $6,900 in combined taxes, and it doesn't even cover the cost of educating their own child.
That says that you have to bring in very high-paying jobs to cover simply the cost of educating children.
Dr. Sims believes the state of New Mexico can't continue procrastinating indefinitely about funding public education properly. The problem simply won't go away. Where to find more money? Sims points out that high earners pay proportionally less than low-wage earners.
Problem with that, one, you could say, well, that's not really fair, but more concern from funding education is the issue that it's not very smart. Low-income people's income simply does not rise very fast. That's why they call them poor people. The growth in income over the last 30 years has been mostly at the upper income ranges. People making $100,000 and above and $200,000 and above or $1 million and above. That's where the growth in income has been. People earning less than $100,000 on average have seen a decline in their real income over the last 30 years. You get most of your revenue from people whose income is not growing. Well, that's not a very good way to run a railroad.
Lawmakers may eventually have to confront the idea of people paying their fair share. That's not likely to get anywhere during this 60-day session. Meanwhile, state lawmakers are stuck between a rock and a hard place. They're considering cuts in education or finding another revenue source. Whatever happens in 2009, we're still facing the bottom line, the urgency of funding public education, quote, sufficiently, unquote, as required by state law. This is Marguerite Kearns for KSFR News.